On Boris Johnson's last ever Prime Minister's questions, we hope, he tries to defend his record in office, starting with his handling of the economic consequences of COVID.
The biggest fall in output for 300 years, which this government dealt with and coped with magnificently.
See, magnificently isn't quite how I describe the worst recession among advanced economies, or telling the state school kids that couldn't go to school they're just going to give the best grades to private schools. Oh, and telling the poorest among them that you're not going to give them school meals while their parents are out of work. And then on the NHS,
Fixing the COVID backlogs, that's what we're doing.
you see, you call them COVID backlogs so that people forget that there were already 4.4 million people on an NHS waiting list before COVID hit, and that was after 10 years of Conservative government.
Under Labour, families on low incomes get most of their income from benefits.
That's a weird point to make, given that furlough happened while you were in office, so 80% of people's wages was being paid for by the state. But if you're talking about before COVID, it's easy to say that a smaller amount of people's wages came from benefits when you've consistently cut people's benefits at every chance you've got.
And making sure that we invest in places that for decades were betrayed by Labour and left behind.
Mate, you Tories have been in power for the last 12 years and most of the last 80 years. So if those areas have been left behind, I don't know. Maybe it's because the politicians saying stuff like this.
The pound spent in Croydon is far more a value to the country from strict utilitarian calculus than a pound spent in Strathclyde.
We got Brexit done, you voted against it 48 times.
Yeah, you're currently trying to renegotiate Brexit, and those 48 times include the times that you voted against Theresa May's Brexit deal. It's almost as if you simply used Brexit as a way to unilaterally decide which relationship you wanted the UK to have with the European Union.
The trust of the Good Friday Agreement between the peoples and between the governments of these islands has been systematically destroyed over the last 6 years.
I completely disagree with that.
But you can't disagree with that because you've already admitted that the part of your Brexit deal called the
Northern Irish Protocol, which I believe is undermining the balance of the Good Friday Agreement.
I'll tell you what students want. But they want to make sure also, Mr. Speaker, that they have a jobs market that will take them on.
Well, then it's a shame that your Brexit closed off a jobs market of 31 European countries, including 25,000 jobs in the hospitality sector alone.
We get people into high-wage, high-skilled jobs.
But you've given us the highest inflation in the G7, which means the value of people's wages in the UK is falling faster than in any other advanced economy. And here's some of the advice that Boris Johnson is leaving us with.
Number one, stay close to the Americans.
But the American president called you the physical and emotional clone of Donald Trump, so you've really helped us out there.
Stick up for freedom.
Oh, is that why you banned loud protest?
We've transformed our democracy.
Yeah, introducing photo ID requirements, knowing that it might keep 2 million of the most marginalized people in society from voting, is such a great transformation for our democracy.
We've got this country through COVID.
Except for the 200,000 people who died. And it's important to keep in mind that Japan is the only other economically similar island nation, i.e. a country with the ability to completely control its borders during the outbreak, and they're on about 30,000 deaths.
Mission largely accomplished.
Your manifesto is called Get Brexit Done, and you're leaving the next PM to sort out the mess. But mainly, you promise to level up people who've been left behind, and the gap between the rich and poor has only gotten wider while you've been in office.
Hasta la vista, baby. Thank you.
You're being effectively kicked out of office because you broke the law during our country's most vulnerable moment since the Second World War. You then lied about it, laughed about it, and the police fined you for it. You then knowingly put a sexual predator in charge of MP's behavior. And again, you lied about it. I've been able to do this fact-checking show every week because I knew that Boris Johnson would lie every week. So the fact that pretty much all those Tories were clapping, don't worry, I will be back.